Hey Collective, it's Al and welcome back to the channel. I am actually working on a couple things right now for actually Altruistic Channel, but I wanted to stop by Altruistic Channel's Arevalo and kind of just tell you guys a little bit about what's been going on lately. So I've had a very interesting day. I went for a walk and I decided I would go down to Disneyland, but it was a little far from where I'm at right now. And so I stopped at Knott's Berry Farm. And the impression I got that was very, very sad was how life has stopped for everybody. And even with 6 feet apart and all that stuff, the park was closed and it was like a ghost town. And I was walking by the restaurants and the stores, and so many places are closed and so many places are just not in operation, and the staff is downsized. And so it was just very, very humbling. And I was just very, I don't want to say I was sad, I was more like just very aware of this transitional phase and how hard things are for a lot of people. So I guess what I just wanted to say is that I see you, I see it very clearly. And I just wanted to address the spirit that we need at this time as people in general, but especially as a collective, especially those of you who are ascending. 2020 was a reset for society, and we know that. It was a moment in which we basically had to come to terms with who we were and essentially face judgment. And 2021 is kind of like the fallout. I've written several articles about the fact that I call it karmic get-in. And so I'm going to go into on Altruistic Channels why I wrote that article. But specifically what I wanted to address here is that we're entering a phase of the Aquarian era where a lot of things are going to be based on karma and dharma. And one of the things I wanted to just say with that is that we're at a momentary pause because of something that's about to occur. And once that happens, once the three unite, so to speak, a lot of things are going to kick off. So while we're in this moment of reflection upon what's about to occur, many of you are being called, and there's a lot of really wonderful things going on, but I'm going to leave that to the people who are amazing, who are already talking about it. What I wanted to talk about was to everybody in general. Life is to be lived. It's not a spectator sport. And the concern that I think that Divine is having at the moment is that we are afraid of ourselves. We are afraid to live. And so considering that 2020 was a judgment, the fact that we're not moving forward and we're allowing oppressors to keep us in a state of fear, it bothers the higher councils and higher realms, because it's as though you're not fighting for life, you're fighting for death. So afraid of death just begets more death, right? And I'm not being all Debbie Downer, I'm actually being uplifting. It's time now to step into life and to start acting as though you're still alive. We're acting like we can't go anywhere. Things aren't adding up. Nobody's asking questions. Everybody's afraid. And I just want to remind everybody that you are paying for a fearful life right now. There's no reason why people who are testing negative cannot go out to a park. All they have to do is bring the paperwork that says that they are negative, and they should be able to go into the parks. If they don't have the paperwork, then it's no big deal, because they're not going out anyway. In restaurants, you are basically sitting with a bunch of people without your face mask because you have to, otherwise you can't eat. And so you're just as equal as, you see what I'm saying? So like all of these dominoes are starting to fall. And I guess what I just wanted to say to everybody is, careful. You're not fighting for life, you're fighting for death. And no one wants that. No one on this planet wants to go yet. That's why everybody's so afraid. But then why aren't you living? I don't know. There's so many solutions. There are people that are suffering. There's all this stuff going on, and yet here we are acting as though we didn't pass judgment, that we're still waiting for the rapture. Well, they're trying to convince you that the rapture is coming. Well, I'm sitting here telling you it's not. We passed judgment. That was the big surprise, was that we all thought we were going to die, because everybody's always like, oh my God, rapture, rapture, rapture. What if we passed? And we did. And here we are standing like eunuchs, like mannequins, I should say, not able to move left or right. And so we're defying the gift that we've been given, and I can't stress that enough. Life is a livable situation. There are set up circumstances in this academy we call Earth that we must overcome. And if you want the new life, the new world unfolding, then you have to live. You have to face the shadow, because you are adding to the suppression and oppression by people who have lost power. And they're doing everything they can to grab as much money as they can from you, and as long as they can. That is coming to a quick end. But instead of focusing on that, why don't we just start focusing on what it is that we're after, which is to live. To see our friends again. If we get the cold, we get a cold. There's no confusion here. You cannot stay stagnant forever, because then God will have no choice, the divine spirit, whoever you believe in, will have no choice but to move you, and you're not going to like how it moves the collective. For a very long time, we hid behind the idea of organized religion and how divisive it was. And so nobody was actually able to ever be held accountable, because they would just be like, I'll just pray Hail Mary and all that stuff. I'm not saying against the church, because there's there's a reason we have religion. But now you don't have that anymore, because the pressure has now been moved up to the leadership in question, and they are being removed very quickly, and they don't like it. And there's a new leadership, a divinely guided leadership. Don't question that, and don't question your life. You passed. We are here because we are willing to work on it, and we are going to fix things. It's not even that hard, but all it takes is you overcoming the fear and anxiety that you can't. There's nothing you can't do. That is the trick. That is the illusion they have us under. That you are somehow limited. You're not limited unless you believe you're limited. And that's when you hand over your power. And if that's what you're going to do, that's great, baby. But you're not supposed to hold the rest of us hostage while we work this out. And we need leaders who want to stay leaders, who step up and start calling bullshit. And start getting the economy and things going. If you are that afraid, then you do not have to participate in the world picking back up again. You technically we probably wouldn't even be invited. The world that we need is proactive leaders, people who are spiritual, who understand that God is the one who chooses when we stay or go. To live in fear of a cold or a virus is ridiculous, because you're more in danger by taking a car ride. But we don't stop driving. In fact, if you go all over LA, there's all this fucking smog everywhere, and I'm just like, how is that possible when we have less people? There's too much that you guys are not seeing. And it's like you don't want to see it. Well, if you don't want to see it, then that's exactly what's going to cause us to finally get called rapture. I'm not being all preachy. I'm just being logical. This is a logical moment in time. There's no reason, if you are a spiritual healer or a guru or on mission or a leader, that you should be afraid of this. Because then you're afraid of your own boss. You're afraid of your highest expression of self. Then we're already in trouble. But that doesn't mean that we get to hold the entire planet hostage because we can't confront our fears. Then you don't go out. What difference would it make to you anyway? You're not living. But there is a whole 4 generations that are raring to go, that have gotten this thing and have walked right through it. No drama, no nothing. But they're being forced to do things that they don't want to do. Nobody wants to take this first vaccine unless they want to tell the truth behind the vaccine. I'm not going to get all preachy about that either. But that's for you guys to talk to God about. But if you are a spiritual person and you have that as part of your thing, and that's who you're being called to be, then you better not be afraid of your own boss. Because then you will never succeed. And this is all about walking to the clearing age, thinking of new ways to do things that people have been doing for a very long time that has not worked. That's why we're here. But I'm walking around Knott's Berry Farm, a magical place for children. Children are not the most susceptible. How do we know? Because they're not getting the vaccine. They're not even wearing a face mask. We don't even require it. So why aren't they there? Why aren't they still experiencing life? Why is everything still on hold? You are being tricked. If you don't want to participate, then do what you're doing. Stay home. You don't have to go out. This virus is spreading, even with everybody in terror. So what did I tell you? There's bullshit. It's not working. It's not meant to work because it's not real. You're afraid of your own shadow. We as a society are afraid to move forward. And you're not going to like how God has to do it. And I've said it before in another video, I don't like the idea of innocent people that are meant to do great things on this planet being caught in the middle and not being able to show up for mission because they get caught up in your big bag of BS. If you don't want to be involved in the world, then don't involve yourself. Stay home. Lock yourself in a room. Do whatever you fucking need to do. But you still can't outrun a virus. This world needs to keep going. In case you haven't noticed, all of this is being used so that we stop protecting Gaia. There's more smog than ever. We're not recycling. We're not even using recyclable bags in California. The emissions is back up, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Just because we might be dying out, does that means that we get to kill the planet? You see what I'm saying? So we're causing our own manifest destiny. And so as I sat walking around, I just remember thinking, no, there's too many of us that are wanting to live. And it's time we start doing so, or they're going to pull our card. That's all I wanted to say for tonight. I hope you guys are having a wonderful life. Listen to music. Go out for a walk. Wear the fucking mask if you want, but start living again. The plants and the trees are looking around going, what the fuck is going on? Like, nobody's anywhere. Life is about living, not about dying. And we've already done a video on that. Choose. What are you going to do? Are you going to do another year of this big bag of bullshit and lose your jobs and become miserable and depressed, end up on more medication, which helps, of course, the people behind this all? Or are you going to start standing up for yourselves and saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't stay hidden for another fucking year. We have to pay the consequences for all of these loans and all this money that's coming out of nowhere. We're taking vaccines that supposedly only took 4 months. I mean, where is our brain's not there? And we, as a collective, need to step up. So, unfortunately, I can't even refer us back to religion at the moment because they're all afraid of their own boss, too. Which is confusing the fuck out of me. But, we have a choice. Are we here to live, or are we here to die? And if we're here to die, then hurry this fucking shit up, because I'm going to keep going. And there's like 4 generations that's going to walk right through this door. We're ready. It's enough of this big bag of bullshit. You're afraid? Then don't come outside. Stay in your house, in the dark, afraid of your own shadow, even though it follows you everywhere you go. Or you can try to go outside and see if you can live anymore. And then maybe you'll start acting like we need to do things quick. There are single mothers out there who can't get anything right now. Everything's so shut down. Everybody's using this unless you are what? In the medical field. How convenient. Not everybody's in the medical field. And the people being affected are people who don't have educations. And the middle class has completely disappeared now. There's no one in middle class. Either you're wealthy and you're on the take, or you're not. And if you are in the middle somehow, or if you're just wealthy, then I suggest you start using your voice. Because this is a karmic get-in. What you do now is exactly what you're going to get. I hope that helps. If you have the little piece of paper that says that you are negative for coronavirus, then why aren't you out doing stuff? It's like a card. It's like an ID. Every week, if we have to. I mean, they're doing free testing anyway. Every fucking week, if they're really all that worried about it, then every week they need to have it. And you go in, and really quickly on your appointment, you go in, you get your paper, and for the week, you get to walk around with no mask on your face, breathing again, and you get to go to theme parks, and you get to go to movies, and you get to live again. How's fucking that as a solution? You can't run from this either. That's it for me, guys. Have a good night. Bye. Oh, check out altruistic channels for this stuff. I'm going to be touching base on all of the old articles that I've done as I prepare for this next transition. You guys are going to love it. Good vibes, love, peace, and light. Use this. Stop running from your own shadow. And remember, your kids are still needing to grow up. They still need to go to school. They still need to live. And if you're not putting masks on them and they're not allowed to get the vaccine, then why are they on hold? Let those of us who have balls that know that this is all a big bag of bullshit go and teach your kids while you hide away. But you're hurting them. We're adults, but you are suppressing children. They're not going to school, they're not doing anything, and hell knows y'all aren't teaching them. I don't see a lot of people going, I don't understand this because I know this. If I had children, algebra alone would fuck me up. I would be like, I need help. I don't see that happening. So I know you're not teaching them. Everybody's on break. Oh, I can't work right now because I have to take care of my kids. Are you teaching them? No, I just watch TV. And I just watch them. Careful. Karma's a real thing. It's real. Anyway, guys, you have a blessed day. Check out Altruistic Channel. It's more uplifting and all about like all the fun stuff that I did on mission and all that stuff. Remember, I'm coming off my mission. I did my year. Well, actually, I was on mission for a while, but a year full. And so I'll be sharing all that stuff and all of just really cool things. But I just want you guys to remember that you are frequencies. And it's not healthy for the entire planet to be medicated right now. As we saw with our children in Ritalin, it has a backfire. Children wouldn't be psychotic. They wouldn't be walking around shooting other people if they were able to express their emotions. And here, everybody is suppressed right now. I don't want this to blow up on everyone. But that is exactly where this is heading if we don't get it together. Alright, I sound like I'm on a soapbox, and y'all know I don't like doing this. I feel like my dad. I feel like if my father was around, like I'd be like, oh my god, I'm turning into my father. But love is love. And the best thing you can do to love your community is to speak the truth. Because they're thinking the exact same thing, but nobody's willing to say it. You're not even having to be brave. Just be honest. That's it for me, guys. Bye.